All right, so ladies and gentlemen, today is again one of my favorite subjects that I always love discussing, which is Navamsha. And who else to bring than my favorite guru, the
No, sorry.
Parasara Rishi Abhagnya. And today
You are my guru actually.
he's going to be talking about Navamsha, but most importantly, something that I have not discussed, which is Navamsha yogas. So, Abhignya, you're already a star. I don't need to introduce you. So, tell us, what are you going to be teaching us today about Navamsha?
Oh hell, not teaching, just like learning from everybody.
No, you're teaching.
Okay,
Ready
so
to learn.
Navamsha is a ninth part of each sign in the zodiac, as we all know. So it's 30 degrees divided by 9, that is 3 degrees 20 minutes. That's one pada of a nakshatra. So each pada is a Navamsha. So if it's easier to say, each pada is a Navamsha. There are 108 padas in the zodiac, when each pada comes to be one Navamsha. So there are many different kinds of ways to make rashi chart into Navamsha chart. And what I use is the nakshatras to do that. Okay. So I keep Ketu, Chandra and Guru from the first Vriksha Sandhi. Then Kuja, Shukra and Shani from the second one. And the third one with Sun, Mercury and Rahu. So the nakshatras of these planets will have their padas fixed there.
Okay, so why are you dividing them in 3 groups?
Yeah, I made it into 3 groups. That's how they teach in our college.
Okay.
So into 3 groups, and each 3 groups have 3 planets. So the 3 planets have their nakshatras. We know that Ketu, Chandra, Guru, all of these planets have nakshatras. Ashwini and Makha Mula belong to Ketu, like that. And the padas go like, if Jupiter, for example, in Rashi chart is in Ashwini Pada 1, then what we do is we keep it in Ashwini Pada 1. That becomes a Vargottama.
Yeah.
If it's Ashwini Pada 2, we take it to Taurus. Ashwini Pada 3, it goes to Gemini. Ashwini Pada 4, it comes to Cancer. Like this, we make it.
Okay.
So Ashwini Pada 4 makes Jupiter go to its exaltation.
Okay.
Like this, we place it in Navamsha, and the Lagna also the same way. The nakshatra and the padas together, we have to take it and then put it in the same position, in another position in the Navamsha. It will change, and sometimes when it comes together, we call it a Vargottamamsha. So then when we do this, actually there are many more ways. By signs, we place it like Libra, Cancer, and all of that, but I follow the nakshatra way because I feel it's more easier. So I keep Ketu, Chandra and Guru at the first Vriksha Sandhi, from Aries to Cancer, from Leo to Scorpio, the second one, with Kuja, Shukra and Shani nakshatras, from Sagittarius to Pisces, I keep it as Sun, Mercury and Rahu. So these nakshatras come there. So to memorize it, I made a shloka. Ketush Chandra Guru Saurihi Kujash Shukrascha Rahavaha, and then Suryo Buddha Sarva Ete Navamshe Trikrata Smritaha. So that I remember the positions of the planets in those places.
Oh.
So that's the way of keeping it. And then what I do is, once the Navamsha chart is ready, we start looking into the Navamsha chart for many different kinds of things. So we know that Navamsha chart is generally a chart which is supplementary to D1. But it again has its own different kinds of things. And Navamsha chart is sometimes considered to be more even powerful and significant than the Rashi chart. Yes. Because Rashi chart gives you significations, but Navamsha chart gives you something inner part of a person's life. So when the Rashi chart is kind of giving the outer aspect of a person's life more than the mental aspect, the mental health, though moon gives that, still a total picture of that with all planets can be given from the Navamsha chart. So when we take anything from the Navamsha chart, we can find 3 things that we can say about the Navamsha chart. One is married life, And second thing is the expectations of spouse to the husband or wife or the native. And the third thing is that you can see from here, the inner aspect of a person and the soul and the spiritual journey. So these are three things we can see from Navamsha chart, and this renders this chart one of the most important things. So we have important yogas also of this chart. So before that, we'll see the Vargottama and Pushkara, shall we?
Yeah. What I wanted to ask you, what is the second thing you said? The spouse towards you?
Expectations.
What does that mean? Expectations about?
Like sometimes they are like husbands or wives or brides and bridegrooms who are expecting some qualities more than money, etc., from their spouse. So they're expecting something like, my husband or wife should be like this.
Okay.
For example, if it's Mesha, they want them to be really like optimistic about life. If it's Vrishabha, they want them to be healing and making a lot of good things around them. And if it's Mithuna, they want them to be like a professor. They want them to research with them. Like that, the Navamsha Lagnas keep changing. Again, if it's Vargottama, the expectations of the spouse will be matched by the native.
Okay.
So, if it's the Vargottama Lagna, then the expectations of the spouse will match with the native, and there will be a good marriage and that whole strong marriage. So there will be no break for marriage if the Lagna is itself Vargottama.
So you're looking at the Lagna of the Navamsha, not the 7th house, to explain this.
Yeah. 7th house will tell you how the spouse is feeling about you, but the 7th house in the Rashi will tell you how you feel about the spouse.
Oh, okay. So 7th house in the birth chart shows us what we feel about the spouse.
Yeah.
Lagna of the Navamsha shows us what the spouse feels about us. Wait, no. Explain again.
Okay. So Lagna of the Rashi chart shows us Lagna of the and then Saptama Bhava, 7th house of the Rashi chart shows how we are to the spouse. And next, the Navamsha. Navamsha Lagna shows us, and then 7th house, the spouse.
Okay.
Spouse behavior to us. So if it is very strong, in case it's very strong, no factor can come in the middle of the marriage, however it is. Okay. So sometimes, how much ever there is a power of negative force to stop the marriage, when the Lagna itself becomes Vargottama, or the 7th lord is Vargottama, there is no way in which the marriage can break open, or it might break open, but not come into being.
Okay.
So it holds strong.
And if 7th lord is strong in Navamsha?
Yeah.
Let's say it's in its own sign or Mul Trikona in Navamsha, but in a friendly sign in the birth chart, how does that play out?
If it's like that, also it gives good effects. So this Navamsha especially gives us how they will what expectations the spouse will have to the native.
Okay.
So the expectations would be like, for each sign there's a different expectation. When the Lagna changes, the expectation changes. So we can be ready for whatever they want from us by seeing the Navamsha chart. So when marriage age comes into being, the bride and the bridegroom see the Navamsha chart. So we're supposed to tell them what might be the expectation from their spouse.
Okay.
So that is supposed to be seen. Second thing is their mindset. So we see in modern day, there are many people who show off a lot. They have huge cars, they have expensive cars, fancy cars, huge homes and expensive homes, spacious homes and luxurious life, everything to us. But inside their life, things seem to be really dangerous sometimes, for most cases, because it depends on you, what you want. You want you to be socially strong or family strong, inside the family. So sometimes very, very fortunate people can be good in both ways, social and family. But it's almost sometimes impossible to be as it is in Navamsha in the Rashi. If all 7 planets are Vargottama, might be then a person will be able to lead a very most great life. because 7 planets Vargottama. That means all planets should be posited in particular signs. So Brihad Yavana Jataka says the person will be a great king and a wonderful man, a powerful person who will rule almost the entire world. So that's the explanation for that. So like
you must have that.
Huh?
You must have that, huh?
Not at all. It's almost impossible for all the planets to come in that kind of a thing. But for some people, like for example, Rama had almost 5 planets exalted, if not wrong. Yeah. And I've not seen the Navamsha, but 5 planets exalted would make a person a king. More than 2 planets exalted, it actually shows the person is politically strong. Like this. So Navamsha again gives you your soul, your mind and your body. What's the relation between your mind and your body? Might be outside, your riches and your possessions might be very great, and inside there might be a difference. So that difference can be seen from the Navamsha. So Navamsha also shows married life, like how they are together. Why this person especially had to be married to this person, etc. can be seen in Navamsha also. And one more thing we can see from Navamsha is the spiritual aspect of a person's life, because marriage and spirituality are linked. Because without marriage, almost there in Kali Yuga, there is no perspective of too much spirituality. So
really?
marriage
So without marriage, you can achieve spirituality.
Yeah. Especially if all the samskaras are done perfectly, muhurta is perfect, matching is perfect. If most things are perfect out of 100%, then of course it will be a Vedic world.
Okay.
So that's why the rishis said all of these samskaras for the people. If not, we would have all been cats and dogs.
Yeah.
There was no exact law or anything. So Navamsha shows how much law a person has in their mind. So all of those things also can be seen from Navamsha. Why is Navamsha that important? Because it significantly comes into the padas of each rashi. In each rashi we have 9 padas. So we know that a few are Vargottama, Pushkara, etc. And any planet in that seems to give more effect than actually which it gives. Okay. So even a debilitated planet in Pushkara will give good effects. But again, if it's in 6th, 8th and 12th houses, the Pushkara effect goes away. So like this, we're supposed to assess the Navamsha chart, which gets inside a very wonderful topic. And it's actually giving more life to the chart than even Rashi, I feel sometimes. Because the thing is that when a person sees the Navamsha chart, you can really find more stuff in a person's life than even the Rashi chart. Because Rashi chart will give you a position which is not that much important. Yeah. When you see the Vedic life, your inner stability, how you are inside, your family life, etc. is counted as fortunate or unfortunate. A person might be prime minister, president, etc. Whatever it is, it does not give that much effect unless the family life is very great, nice and fortunate. And if the family life is itself not there, at least the mental stability should be nice. Then the person can consider himself fortunate. If he's a prime minister and president and his mind is conked or his family life is entirely conked, then a person has to consider himself unfortunate, how muchever his position is. So that's why the Navamsha is very important.
Can you read Navamsha without even looking at the birth chart?
That is very difficult, and exactly we don't see any yoga only pertaining to the Navamsha. Every time whenever we see yogas, it comes with the Rashi chart, or Navamsha is like it comes out of the picture. Okay. So we can't assess anything out of the Navamsha because again there are big problems. And if you only assess the Rashi chart, there'll be a few planets exalted, and suddenly in the Navamsha they'll go debilitated. Yeah. And there'll be problems in the Navamsha. So then we can't straightforward assess anything. That's why whenever B.V. Raman and great authors give the charts, they always show the Rashi and then they show the Navamsha also. Otherwise, it proves to be a false chart and it becomes a problem. So that's why in everything, we're supposed to also, in fact, assess Shashti Amshas. we have to go to that to Shashti Amshas, because in the 300 horoscopes, most of the yogas are also based on Shashti Amshas.
Okay.
So like this, we see on a Navamsha chart. So Navamsha and Rashi go together. Just like how husband and wife, that is Rashi and Navamsha.
Yeah.
It's like that Rashi and Navamsha have to go together. Otherwise, if you only see Rashi, it's like selfishness. If you only see Navamsha, it's like out of the picture.
Okay. Right.
So Rashi and Navamsha have to be considered, because I saw many books. There was nothing which gave me even a 1% picture of only a Navamsha yoga. And all technical and ancient books never give a pure Navamsha yoga itself. It only gives Rashi with Navamsha. Rashi with Navamsha. If there is no Navamsha, then Rashi is a frog in the well picture. If there is no Rashi, then Navamsha is a ribbon cloud in the sky.
Okay.
So we could give it like that. So it's like that. Actually, Navamsha cannot decide anything exactly, because then it will be a problem for the Rashi, because then we can't know anything about ourselves. We can only know about marriage, etc.
Yeah.
If Navamsha is there. And Navamsha cannot even be made just without the Rashi. So like that. It's there.
Perfect.
So shall we see the Navamsha yogas?
Yeah, let's go on yogas.
Yeah. So actually, as I said, there is nothing called Navamsha yogas. We have to consider only Rashi with Navamsha. So we'll see a few yogas through Navamsha. So that is Kurma yoga. One is Kurma yoga. So benefics have to occupy the 5th, 6th and the 7th from the Lagna in the Rashi chart. So let's see that. I'll give an example. It's a chart. So Lagna is Aries, Venus and Ketu in Cancer, Sun and Jupiter in Leo, Mercury and Mars in Kanya, and Moon in the 7th house, and Saturn in the 8th house, Rahu in the 10th house. So this is the chart, and this is of a very great person, a great Indian engineer. Yeah, so there we go. He's born on 1st 1897. So that's his Rashi. His Navamsha makes Rahu come in the Lagna. Same Vargottama Lagna. So Lagna is becoming Vargottama. So we can see the effect on the person. And Aries Lagna becoming Vargottama again shows a very strong thing. But again, Rahu has come in the middle of the Lagna, and Ketu comes to the 7th house. And Mercury in the 2nd, Mars in the 4th, and Saturn in the 5th, and Sun and Venus in the 6th, and Ketu in the 7th, and in the 12th we have Moon in the Navamsha.
Okay.
So we can see that when benefics occupy the 5th, 6th and 7th from the Lagna in Rashi, and also occupy exaltation, own or friendly Navamshas, this yoga is called. It's called Kurma yoga. So it's one of the most rare yogas, and this makes the person great, wonderful, and they don't move around. They are like a kurma. They do a thing, then go to the next. Do a thing, then go to the next. And they are very famous people, world famous people. They have a princely character, a standard character, and they are good people also. So we can see here that the 5th is occupied by Sun and Jupiter. 6th is occupied by Mercury and Mars. 7th is occupied by the Moon. All are benefics, but there are a few malefic also, that is Sun and Mars.
Yeah.
So since that has come into being, the yoga efficacy has reduced, but still the yoga is there. It's Jupiter, Mercury and Moon have caused the yoga. Now again, when we see this Jupiter, Mercury and Moon, we see that the Moon is in Pisces, in a good place for it, and Mercury is in Taurus, which is again its friend's house, and Jupiter is in this chart. It is in the second. Let me just check. So yeah, so Jupiter is also posited in its exaltation almost. Yeah, in Simha Rashi. So in this way, when we see all of these planets, whichever have caused the Kurma Yoga, have been in correct places.
Okay.
So the Kurma Yoga has been caused. Again, we see Rashi and Navamsha going together because the
Yeah.
Rashi aspects are being carried into the Navamsha aspects.
Because you can have Kurma Yoga just by looking at Navamsha, because then you don't know what's happening in the birth chart. Okay.
Yeah, that's what. So Kurma Yoga is somewhat it is almost like Adi Yoga, but it's the only difference is it's 5th, 6th, and 7th. It's just like Adi Yoga, and in the Navamsha we can see that Jupiter has gone to Sagittarius. Sagittarius is its own house,
Yeah.
and that renders this person with the yoga, Kurma Yoga. The person was from a very humble family, then he has risen very high, but the problem was that he was unscrupulous, not a good person. So that is because of other things. For example, a Durdhura Yoga with Saturn, and Mercury with Mars, and Venus with Ketu, Rahu in the 10th, etc. have rendered him a little bad person.
Okay.
Next, we are going to see the Chandika Yoga. Chandika Yoga, by the name itself, we can see it it pertains to something very aggressive, and we know Chandi.
Yeah, Chandal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Chandika Yoga, but this yoga is it's a good yoga for political people.
Okay.
The Lord of the Navamsha occupied by the 6th and the Lord of the Navamsha occupied by the 9th Lord should be with the Sun. The 6th Lord should be aspecting the Lagna, which is in a fixed sign. So it's very, very complicated somewhat, but I can give an example for this. That is Taurus Lagna, Sun and Jupiter in Kanya, Saturn is
Wait,
in
do you have
Libra.
the birth information of the person?
This person that I'm giving now?
Yeah.
No, I just created it to give a quick.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's Taurus Lagna, Sun and Jupiter in Kanya, Saturn in exaltation, Swati 4, Pada 4, and Venus Uttara Bhadra 1. Now when we come to the Navamsha, Saturn automatically goes to Pisces and Venus goes to Leo. So we can see that the lords are Sun and Jupiter, which are in the 5th house.
Okay.
And the 6th lord is aspecting the Lagna.
In the Navamsha.
Yeah, no, in the rashi.
Okay.
Yeah. So they should, the Navamsha thing is, we just see Lord of the Navamsha, friendly Navamsha, exaltation Navamsha. But when we see the yogas, it again comes back to the Rashi chart.
Okay.
Just like that. But again, if we consider Rashi chart as the most superior and quit off the Navamsha chart, there is no consideration of some important yogas.
Okay.
So that makes a person aggressive, charitable, but wealthy, and minister or equal to him.
Okay.
Long and happy life and fame. So this shows it's a good yoga, but the aggressive nature, fond of wars, etc., brings a malefic thing. That is because of the 6th lord.
Okay.
Aspect in the Lagna. So that easily shows a few political people might have this yoga.
Okay.
But it's almost very complicated because B.V. Raman and all the great authors have not given a chart for this as an example because it's a very rare yoga.
Oh, okay. I see.
Because no politician is charitable.
Oh, no.
And that's what it is. It's almost impossible. So next yoga, Vishnu Yoga. From Navamsha, we can consider one more yoga. That's Vishnu Yoga. That makes a person having qualities of Vishnu, Lord Vishnu Bhagavan.
Okay.
And plus, the person starts worshipping Vishnu, and he'll be wealthy and very long life for the person, and he'll be blessed by Lakshmi and Vishnu, because whenever we pray to Vishnu, Lakshmi automatically comes. When we pray
I gotta have this yoga.
Huh?
I said I gotta have this yoga in my chart.
So, if the Lord of the Navamsha, in which the 9th Lord is placed, and the 10th Lord is with the 9th Lord along with the Lord of the Navamsha of the 9th Lord, in which the second, causes Vishnu Yoga. So again,
wait, repeat that again.
So if the Lord of the Navamsha in which the ninth Lord is posited,
Yeah.
and the 10th Lord is with the ninth Lord.
Oh, like Dharma, Karma, Tapati Yoga.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is a Lakshmi Narayan Yoga, plus it is one more important yoga. That is the Lord of the Navamsha in which the ninth Lord is placed should be with the 10th Lord and the ninth Lord inside the second house.
Okay.
So that shows it. So when I when I created an example, I made it Mithuna Lagna, Jupiter in Cancer, Shani in also in Cancer, and Moon in Cancer. And when I made it Navamsha, I've just like done it like some illustrative thing. I made Pisces Lagna, and it is Vargottama.
Can you show that chart on the screen? Okay, a little bit up. Okay, I see what you're doing. Okay, great.
So that will again go to make the yoga. Again, B.V. Raman has not given any chart for that because it's almost so rare.
Rare yoga. Yeah.
Yeah. And then Garuda Yoga. I think this is very common. I think most people might know this yoga. The Lord of the Navamsha occupied by the moon. That means if for this it's very easy. You should just know your nakshatra and the pada, and that's enough. And
so that means moon is in the ascendant?
No. So moon should be in any nakshatra or pada, and the Lord of the Navamsha should be exalted.
Should be exalted, okay.
Okay, so for an example, I would say moon in, so there's an example given by B.V. Raman. That is moon in Capricorn in the Lagna, and in the 6th house we have Ketu, in the 8th house we have Shani, Jupiter and Mars, in the 9th house we have Sun and Mercury, exalted Mercury, in the 10th house we have Venus, and in the 12th house we have Rahu.
Okay.
So that makes a chart. And in the Navamsha, the Lagna is Vargottama, and Sun is in the Lagna, and Mercury and Ketu go to the 3rd house, and Moon is in the 6th house, Rahu and Jupiter are in the 9th house, Shani in the 10th house, and Mars and Venus in the 11th house, and that's the chart in the Navamsha. Okay. So when we see Garuda Yoga is there, and Garuda Yoga has many positive aspects. They have a polished speech, good, everything good, but there's one problem. In the 34th year, they have danger from poison. So we can see many people who have got danger from poison in the 34th year with Garuda Yoga. Poison in modern days cannot be exactly shown as poison because people don't adopt means of poison nowadays.
It could be food poisoning.
Yeah, food poisoning, or again it might be wine or drinks, liquor, etc.
Okay. It's
also poison, and there have been a few examples by M.N. Kedar showing that poison was also liquor, and they gave a few examples which showed that people drank too much of liquor and then they got lung disease, etc.
Okay.
So now the next yoga which can be seen with Rashi and Navamsha, it can be Netra Nasha Yoga.
Okay.
That means before there were a few punishments, as we know, cutting the nose, cutting the ears, and removing the eyes, etc. for very evil people who used to do very dangerous things. So for people who used to cheat others and kill people, they used to cut the nose and the ears off. And for people who used to be bad, they used to just pluck their eyes out, etc. They used to do all of those things because it was necessary for grave people who used to do evil things. More than death, because suffering is important for evil people more than death. Because nowadays there are death punishments, but that doesn't make a great deal of any kind of a punishment.
Yeah.
This is not at
all.
What
yug was this in?
Huh?
What yug did that take place in?
Yugas, actually this was there from when corruption started. For example, Treta middle and Dwapara.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
So they used to do that because in Treta middle Ravana was there. He was a very strict king. He was a good king in his kingdom. So if there were problems, he used to do all of these punishments, etc. So that's why these yogas have been given here, Netra Nasha.
Okay.
And even recently in the medieval period, there have been some kings who used to do this to evil people. So Netra Nasha Yoga shows, but now we can't put it like that because nobody gives such punishments. We can say that the person is born with good eyesight in his beginning of the life. Somewhere in the middle of the life or end of the life or any time, his eyesight goes unexpectedly because of different reasons. So we can give Netra Nasha in that perspective. We can't exactly give it as Rajadroha. If sun is involved, might be we can say some political problem resulted in this.
Okay.
Like that. So the lords of the 10th and 6th occupy the Lagna with the second lord.
Okay.
So second lord is involved with the eyes. 12th lord is also involved with the eyes. 10th and 6th in the second. Okay. And along with this, the 10th and 6th lord, otherwise, the second condition is should be Nicha Amsha. For example, they can be any house in the Rashi, but in Amsha, they should be in a debilitation position.
Okay.
So, there's a chart given here, and this shows Sun, Buddha, and Venus in the Lagna of Simha, and Moon in the 5th house, Rahu in the 6th house. In the 8th house, we have Jupiter. And the 11th house, Mars and Saturn. In the 12th house, Ketu.
Okay.
So this proves to be kind of a malefic chart itself. There is Kema Druma Yoga. So it's like that. There is Kema Druma Yoga also here. But what is important to see is that the 10th Lord, Venus, is in the Lagna with the 6th Lord, that is again in Amsha, Venus is going to Kanya.
Kanya, okay, I see what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah. So Nicha Amsha means like that. In Navamsha, it becomes Nicha.
Okay.
Another yoga, Tibra Buddhi Yoga, can be seen. These people are wonderfully intelligent. They are like, for example, too intelligent.
You must have that yoga.
The Lord of the Navamsha, in which the Lord of the 5th is placed, because 5th is
intelligence.
Is the house of intelligence.
Yeah.
So 5th Lord should be aspected by benefics. 5th Lord should himself be a benefic. For example, let's take Paras Lagna with the Lord of the 5th as Mercury, and Mercury should be posited in the 5th itself, for example.
And aspected by Jupiter.
Yeah, and aspected by Jupiter, which is in the Lagna.
Okay.
That would be a wonderful Tira Buddhi Yoga with lots of other yogas too. So
okay.
I tried doing that. So 7th yoga that can be seen is Raja Yoga, one Raja Yoga. So debilitated planets occupying exalted Navamshas. So it's dangerous if exalted planets occupy Amshas, but if debilitated planets occupy exalted Navamshas, it makes a big difference. It makes a good thing. So that becomes a Raja Yoga.
Okay.
So again, we can see the Navamsha importance is more than Rashi sometimes.
Yeah.
So
what does that yoga signify? That particular Raja Yoga?
Like political power.
Okay.
And or like it always doesn't give political power, because nowadays politics is a sinful thing.
Yeah.
It can also give like good charitable nature and somebody who is able to control or influence huge places and is of good character. But again, if other malefic planets are involved, those planets' characters will also come inside. So when these yogas come, actually there's no parihara for these yogas at all. So that shows their character. That's it. It just gives them character. Again, it can be reduced by a few methods, but these are just yogas. So number 2 is Raja Yoga. It's another Raja Yoga. Lord of the Navamsha occupied by a debilitated planet should join a quadrant or a trine Lagna. So this is a very complicated one. So the complicated Raja Yogas itself give a good effect, which should be a movable sign, and the Lord of the Lagna should also be in a movable sign. So, for example, a debilitated planet, that would be Jupiter in Capricorn, let's say. So, Jupiter in Capricorn, that too in Dhanishta Pada 1. So, Dhanishta Pada 1, okay, that's Mars. The Lord of Dhanishta Pada 1 is Mars. So, taking Mars should be in, so this Mars should be in exalted, or it should be in a quadrant or a trine in the Rashi Lagna. Okay. And the Lagna should be a movable sign. Lord of Lagna also should be a movable sign. This constitutes a very powerful Raja Yoga. So there is one Raja Bhanga Yoga which is related to Navamsha. That is Leo Ascendant, Shani Exalted. That is Shani in the 3rd house, Leo Ascendant. But in debilitated Navamsha.
Okay.
That becomes a Raja Bhanga, and the Raja Yoga vanishes. Again, there's one more Raja Bhanga. Sun debilitated in the deepest degree. 10
degrees.
Yeah, 10 degrees exactly. When it's debilitated in Libra, 10 degrees, then it's totally like all Raja Yogas collapse, because Sun is the main Raja of the planetary cabinet.
Even in Navamsha or birth chart?
In birth chart.
Okay.
Yeah, if that happens, then all the yogas go away.
Okay.
If it happens in Navamshas, maybe one yoga may vanish.
But what if, let's say, your Sun is debilitated and the birth chart exalted in Navamsha?
Then it becomes another Raja Yoga.
Then another Raja, okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
So, shall we see about the Pushkara Navamshas?
Pushkara Navamsha, yeah.
Yeah. So, Pushkara Navamshas is a shloka in the Jataka Parijata for that. So, it says, Tatha Rashi Shvetanamsha Navansha Napi Pushkaranahu Yathamesha Simha Chapeshu Saptama Navamu Vrishakanya Mrigeshu Panchama Tritiyau Mithuna Tula Kumbheshwashtamashishtau Karki Meena Kiteshwadya Tritiyau Ete Pushkara Sanya Navamsha Ityartha. So that shloka gives about the fiery signs, if they are in the 9th or the 7th Navamsha, in the fiery signs is a Pushkara Navamsha.
Okay.
So for example, Mesha, Simha and Dhanus, which are the fire signs. So these signs, in that the 7th Navamsha and the 9th Navamsha is a Pushkara Navamsha. So there are 9 Navamshas in each one. For the fire signs, the 7th one is also a Pushkara Navamsha. The 9th one is also a Pushkara Navamsha. So that's what Jataka Parijata says for these signs. Next comes Vrisha, Kanya, Mriga. That is, so we can say Mriga is Capricorn, Vrisha is Vrishabha, Kanya is Kanya, of course, Virgo. So for this, Panchama and Tritiya are the Pushkara Navamshas. Next, Mithuna, Tula and Kumbha for the airy signs, the air signs.
Okay.
For that, the 5th and the 6th Navamshas are considered as Pushkara Navamshas. For Karka, Meena and Scorpio, so there is Karki, Meena and Kita is given here for the word. So Karki means Cancer, Meena means Pisces, and Kita means Scorpio. So for these watery signs, the 1st Navamsha and the 3rd Navamsha are considered as Pushkara Navamsha.
Okay.
So again, when these Vriksha Sandhis come and a person is born with a Pushkara Navamsha, generally there is no Pushkara Navamshas in Vriksha Sandhis. But if it happens to be a Vargottama in such things, for example, there's a Vargottama in Revati Pada 4, Ashwini Pada 1. So since there's a Vargottama there, the birth in Vriksha Sandhis might be okay, but otherwise it's bad, is what we say.
Okay.
So Bhrigunadi and Jataka Parijata also give the same effect.
Okay.
So Bhrigunadi also says that a person born in Pushkara Navamsha will become very great, fortunate and important social person. And Jataka Parijata says that these Pushkara Amshas are extremely good. So when you're choosing Muhurta, also you can make Pushkara Navamshas as the Lagna or the moon in Pushkara Navamshas, or there are 2 Pushkara Bhagas rising every hour.
Yeah, Pushkara Bhaga occurs at 14 degrees Aries.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there are 3 Pushkara Bhagas which are considered the most fortunate, the greatest. That is, they are Vargottamas too.
Okay.
There are 3 Pushkara Bhagas which are Vargottamas also. One of them is Taurus, Rohini, Pada 2. So that's a Vargottama, and it's a Pushkara Navamsha also. If we would see, because Rohini 2 goes to the Vargottama.
Right.
So if anybody is born in this, that means moon in Taurus, Rohini, Pada 2. Moon becomes exalted, but again, it's a Vargottama plus a Pushkara. This person becomes Raja Yoga also results. So there are only 3 like this, and person should consider himself totally fortunate if this comes in.
Okay.
So now we'll see the Vargottamas. Oh no, there's one more point. That is the Prashna.
Okay.
So in Prashna, if Pushkara arises in Prashna, again we would say that even though there are few bad planetary conjunctions, if the question has been put when there is a Pushkara Bhaga or a Pushkara Navamsha, then we say that this person will be fortunate and whatever he's asking for will be fulfilled.
Okay.
So we can give it in Prashna like that. In Muhurta, we can choose. In Jataka, we can see a few effects. Like this, Pushkara is considered very fortunate. Now we'll see the Vargottamas. So we'll begin the Vargottamas with Satyacharya's description. Charama bhavane shwadyamshaha sthireshu madhya dimurtishu tathamtyaha. So Satyacharya, he was the teacher of Varahamihira. So he had said this. That means that in movable signs, the first Amsha or Navamsha is called as Vargottama. In the fixed signs, the middle one, the 5th one, is counted as Vargottama. And in Vishwabhava, the last one is counted as Vargottama. So for this, I saw that. So that is Ashwini Pada 1 is a Vargottama, Rohini Pada 2 is Vargottama, and Punarvasu Pada 3 is Vargottama, and Punarvasu Pada 4 is also Vargottama. Pubba 1 is Vargottama, Chitta Pada 2 is Vargottama, Chitta Pada 3 is also Vargottama, and Anuradha 4 is Vargottama. Uttarashada 1 is Vargottama, Uttarashada 2 is also Vargottama, and Shatabhishak 3 is Vargottama, and Revati Pada 4 is Vargottama. So each Rashi has a Vargottama. Okay. So people, whoever are born in Vargottamas, become the leaders of their family and lead their family to a better social status. So people who are born in Vargottamas are like that.
So what if they have Rahu Ketu as Vargottama? Is that counts as the same thing?
Rahu Ketu as Vargottama makes a person socially and politically strong. But again, if it becomes a KSY or Kada Sarpa Yoga or something like that, I think it would be reduced.
Okay.
Yeah. If Rahu is Vargottama, these people are intuitive. They can know things about the future more than others, even though they don't study astrology. So so that's the thing about them. So sometimes there's some Gochara uses we can put into Vargottama, because Vargottama says if many planets are Vargottama, we say that this person is going to be a king.
Okay.
Or king means the Vedas, Shastras say kings. But when we read these descriptions in modern day, it takes us nowhere.
Yeah.
King, what's king? Like that. But king in modern day can be taken as a high position. It can also be in any position. It can also be
like a manager, CEO of a company.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or even might be a owner of any organization, even a petty owner or a petty chief or an IAS officer, etc. also can be considered to be as a Vargottama, depending on the number of planets which are Vargottama. So again, that has to be taken into account. So Vargottama use Jataka and Gochara. So that's what we do. So what if any planet is Vargottama? For example, Let's take example as Venus in Revati Pada 4. So that's one of the best things. So Venus in Revati Pada 4, it's exaltation for Venus in Pisces. And Pada 4 of Venus is a Vargottama, and it comes in the Navamsha also as Pada 4. So how will it be activated? This person is going to be a very great political officer in some point of time. You can say that for Vargottama. But when is the question? When will Vargottama give its effects? So take the Lord of the Rashi where a planet has become Vargottama. So if it is Pisces, now in our example, it's Pisces. Whenever Jupiter goes through Pisces, it will be brought out. And again, when Jupiter comes to Cancer, because of Navama Drishti, the effect will come out. Again, when Jupiter comes to Samasaptama Drishti, there will again be outcome of this. Again, when Jupiter comes to Panchama Drishti, there will be another thing, which will give a Pushkara Navamsha. A Vargottama result. So like this, we can give a Vargottama result. When the Vargottama should come, can be given. So Vargottama, when should it come? We have a question, because there will be many Dasha, Bhukti, etc. But again, when it will be activated fully is the Lord of the sign in which the planet has become Vargottama should transit a place in which it's able to aspect the planet in the Jataka, which is in Vargottama.
Okay.
Or it should just conjunct with that. So, Lagna itself is Vargottama. Now let's take the next thing. Lagna itself is Vargottama. Then the life of that person becomes like really strong. They remain happy till the end of their lives. That's given because people with Lagna itself as Vargottama, how much ever bad things influence their life, they still are happy throughout the end of throughout their life.
What if you have Vargottama Lagna and also Rahu, Ketu are in the 1st and 7th house and Vargottama?
Yeah, that would make them evil people, and but never subject to torture in their life.
Okay.
There are many people who just escape from punishments. There are huge companies which kill poor people, destroy them, and then they never get punishment, though the poor people are fined for their book by law.
Yeah.
As Raman has said in one of his books, he said that big merchants, etc., are minting money at the cost of million people, and they are, and the poor people are booked by law, but the rich people are like they keep making money. So he knew that thing. And also, for planets to be Vargottama, there are one more thing, Karakamsha Grahas. So we know what is a Karakamsha Graha?
Yeah.
Or Karaka Graha. If a Karaka Graha is in Kendra, a Kendra, then there are a few effects which are given. So, first of all, there's a very wonderful yoga that has been stated in the Lagna Chandrika book. So Lagna Chandrika, page 45, 40 to 46 verses. So this book, Lagna Chandrika, gives us an explanation of a very wonderful yoga in regard to Vargottama. So that is, the Lagna should be Vargottama. First condition. Second condition, a benefic should be in the 12th house. Third condition, the Kendra should be occupied by any Karaka planet. So any Kendra can be occupied by any Karaka planet. So Karakas, we know the Karaka Grahas.
Yeah.
So if Sun occupies the Kendra, now let's see the shloka for that. The shloka for this says, Shubha Vargottame Janna Vyayasthane cha Sadgrihe Ashunyeshu cha Kendreshu Karakaghya Graha Shucha Surya Kendre Rajasevi Vaishya Vrittir Nishakare Shastra Vrittih Kuje Shuro Budhe Chadhyapako Bhavet Swanusthana Rato Nityam Divya Buddhe Naro Guru Shukre Vidyartha Sampanno Nita Sevi Shanaishchare. So it's a shloka. It says that if a Karaka planet, the Sun occupies a Kendra with the Lagna being Vargottama and benefic in the 12th house, they be very happy government servants. That means they are involved with the government. In the same thing with the moon, the person becomes a businessman. With Mars, a brave man or a valorous soldier. Or a police, we can say, because we have to always use modern things nowadays because the time is like it's not the same thing in the Vedic period.
Yeah.
So when we say valorous soldier, everybody can't be a valorous soldier or a brave person in the soldier place. But of course, it can happen when such a great combination is there. But still, a head of a police also can be given. And Mercury with the same combination makes a person a professor. A happy professor. That means there are many professors in this world. Some of them may have a bad life.
Yeah.
So, a few of them have good life, so they might have this yoga. So Jupiter, these people are spiritually inclined, so they don't like to be materially inclined, but they still get all material things. So that's the best thing. When you're spiritually inclined, then you automatically get material things. That's the best thing of life.
Wow.
If people go behind material things, then spiritual things go away and material things also go away.
Very true.
So they go behind Lakshmi, and then Lakshmi doesn't come unless Vishnu is worshipped.
Yeah.
So it's like that. And then Venus, if it's in the same position, lots of wealth and intellect also. So that was also a good combination. Like intellect is also there, wealth is also there. A person has knowledge of different shastras, and plus wealth is also there. Then that's also good. Saturn makes a person a gangster.
Wow. Okay.
Saturn in the same combination. Why I would say that is Saturn in a Kendra does not give any good effect most of the time.
In the birth or Navamsha?
In birth itself.
In the birth
because
chart, okay.
Every time Saturn occupying a Kendra will give you a bad character itself. Because Saturn occupying the 4th house will make mothers short longevity.
Yeah.
Saturn occupying the 7th house will make marriage very, very slow. But it gets Digbala, but again, that's not that powerful. Saturn occupying the 10th house will make a person an evil politician or involved in that, or a person involved with a gang.
Uh-huh.
And Saturn in the 1st house in the ascendant itself makes a person a very, very crooked person. So Saturn...
What about Saturn in then Upachya?
Upachaya is good. That's why we say mean politician, an evil politician. Again, politician is considered to be a very socially high people.
Yeah.
But politician, again, in mental status, it's bad. It's an Upachaya. But if it's in 3, 6, and 11, that's the place for evil planets. You be there. Even in that, 3 and 11 are considered the best places for evil planets. Again, that Saturn in the 11th and Mars in the 3rd are considered the most fortunate places.
Okay.
So that's the thing. So Neecha Sevi, as the word has been given here, Neecha Sevi means one who serves the wicked or the evil.
Yeah.
That's again in modern days we can take it as terrorists or gangs. So these people who have this yoga will be very happy as serving these evil people.
Yeah.
So there will be no sadness, is what this Jataka Chandrika.
I thought gangster would be more like Mars and Rahu.
Mars, yeah. But gangster, I mean in a different way, that is Mars, but more than a violent one. I would say there are many different kinds of ways of being an evil person.
Yeah, pretty much Mars, Saturn play that role with Rahu.
Yeah. So again, Mars, if it's there, then that could be done. Otherwise, they can also be workers in the house of an evil person.
Oh, like servants, because Saturn is a servant too. Yeah.
Yeah. Or secretaries.
Okay.
Etc. These secretaries don't do that much of this violent work, running around with guns and shooting, etc. But if Mars is involved, of course, they will be doing that too.
Okay.
As you said. So now Brihad Yavana Jataka says, if a person has all 7 planets as Vargottama, great king, valorous king who will subdue his enemies and will be endowed with super elephants, which when walking, they will wet the entire earth with their, they have a particular mucus flowing from their, tusks. And those elephants are called as super elephants and very strong ones. So king having them is considered very fortunate. So when that elephant walks, it wets the earth with that. That means they are very strong elephants. So king having such an elephant is considered very fortunate. It's a good omen also in the beginning of war. So again, all the 7 planets in Vargottama shows he owns all the 7 seas of the world.
I see. Okay.
So the rising Navamsha. Rising Navamsha, if it is itself Vargottama, and the Lord of the Navamsha is placed in a friendly place or in a Mula Trikona or exaltation in order, he will be a happy person. The degree of the friendly sign Mula Trikona. So friendly sign Swakshetra, Mula Trikona, exaltation. So considering this thing in ascending order, we will see that. So the person will be that happy through the end of his life.
Okay.
At the end of his life, he'll be like that. So sometimes people have only 1 or 2 planets in Vargottama. So if Sun is Vargottama, the person has a philosophical attitude and the person will be really good at politics. The person will be good-hearted, sattvic. If not politics, at least influential. Sound health, good health, because Sun gives that. Status in life and popularity, desire to acquire knowledge and self-satisfaction. Moon, which is Vargottama. If Moon is only Vargottama, then good memory, intellect, firm and impartial attitude, getting the desired things. Why is this? Because Vargottama says that the planet is sthira. That means it is giving the same things. If it is all the different, if you see Navamsha, it keeps changing. The moon is a planet which keeps running from one place to the other. So
but what if the planet is debilitated in Vargottama? Is that good also?
It still destroys the effects of debilitation.
Okay.
So Vargottama is considered that great. But again, this Vargottama should not happen in 6th, 8th or 12th house, or its effect becomes nil. And the debilitation effect will arise.
Okay.
So just by seeing a chart, we can't say anything. So we come to that conclusion. We have to see the rashi, we have to see the nakshatra, the pada, and Navamsha chart, and again Shashti Amsha, we have to go to Trimshamsha, we have to again see Drekana. Everything should be there, and then only an astrologer can consider as a like he's showing everything. Otherwise, it's like the frog in the well. So when anybody brings a jataka, we must first check the jataka fully, whether this jataka this time has been made correct, because sometimes it's manually made.
Yeah.
And people who make it make a few mistakes, so we have to check it. It's not that I'm saying make it in the computer, but normally a thing for astrologers is that keep checking the jatakas again and again, so that you purely see the efficacy of that, because suddenly Shashti Amsas keep changing. So when they change, we can't give one particular good effect.
Yeah.
Keep changing, then becomes a problem, because every second or every few minutes,
it's every 2 minutes now Sastyamsa changes. So
yeah. So then Mars, if it becomes Vargottama, desire to learn astrology comes in the person. Again, I said that Vargottama, when does this desire come? That is that I told that Gochara thing, where
Gochara.
Mars becomes Vargottama.
So Mars shows astrology?
Mars shows an inner desire to do something.
Okay.
So Mars desire to learn astrology comes in the person because Mars is an important planet in astrology, because it gives Kuja dosha. It's the most malefic planet. So person, after being troubled by different things, comes to a conclusion that there is something which I should know to warn me of my troubles.
Yeah.
So that's why I think Mars will signifying astrology, because I never heard it. Just
like soldier wants to know when the enemy is coming, so he wants to get that deeper intuition. That's very good. Yeah.
And encouragement by others also comes, and indicating reason to rise and fall in life. When Mars is Vargottama and the effects come within Gochara, then we can say that this person will get a few indications that he will get rise or fall in life.
Okay.
So when Mars Vargottama period comes, person has to keep observing any kind of a thing which is happening and be very cautious, because if for example, he takes a loan. when the period of Mars in Vargottama starts. Mars Dasha or Bhukti,
Yeah.
and that Gochara thing that I said, any one of these periods coming to being, and the person is taking a loan. The person should know that I am not going to do anything important in this Mars Vargottama period because I know something will happen to me. So that kind of a power comes to the person to know whether he should do something or not.
Okay.
So Mercury, if it's Vargottama, sharp intellect, of course, Mercury is for that. And capacity to convince others, charity in talk, and desire to learn astrology. Mercury is astrology. It's very easy to know about that. Jupiter is intelligent. So when Vargottama comes with Jupiter, the person will become intelligent. That means sometimes people are generally not aware of a few things happening in the world, and when Jupiter comes into being, the Vargottama period comes in, they'll start becoming more intelligent towards something. It's not that if you get good marks in your school or anything, you are known as intelligent. It's that a person practically becomes intelligent when a person knows the real things about life. So again, that has also a time. A person can be intelligent from when they are born, but again, there is some kind of time when there is a particular thing to know for your intelligence. So that again comes into time. And searching for truth. These people, when Jupiter and Vargottama starts, they suddenly have a feeling to search, just start searching for truth. And then also capacity to understand others' views and pride comes for these people, because when Jupiter becomes Vargottama and the period starts for that, especially if it's in good places, for example, exaltation, then they'll rise, no doubt, to a very high position.
Okay.
When Venus is Vargottama and the period of Venus starts, capacity to learn pros and cons of a problem. So that comes to them, because most of the time we are not able to conceive what to do when a problem arrives to us. Mm-hmm. But when this Venus in Vargottama comes, the general character of the person is that this person will only first see the pros and cons of a problem and solve it. So they have a good management in their minds. So then physical development and knowledge of astrology with Venus. Again, Venus is also Venus, Jupiter and Mercury give astrology. Saturn being Vargottama gives a few bad effects and a few good effects too.
Okay.
That hindrance in physical development. So anything you start when Saturn's Vargottama starts. That is when, for example, Saturn in Libra Vargottama. Saturn in Libra Vargottama, because I'm trying to give the most positive effect of Saturn. So Saturn in Libra Vargottama, Lord is Venus. So whenever Venus comes to the sign Aries, that time it will start giving effects of Venus in Libra Vargottama.
Okay.
In Gochara. So hindrance in physical development, but longevity comes to the person as a lifelong characteristic. They have longevity. And careful. Leads a life by controlling desires. That's their general characteristic. And selfishness, irresponsible people, carelessness, and exercises restraints. Because Saturn is a miser planet. No, this much only. They have a boring routine. Saturnine people who are influenced by Saturn, they are dictator kind of people. If not in the world, at least their family. They are dictators in their family. So very strong Saturnine people like Adolf Hitler can rise to the international level of being a dictator. But normal Saturnine effects is too much in a person's Jataka. At least in their family, they'll be dictators.
Yeah. Okay.
So they will rule out things. No, it's not supposed to be this. It's supposed to be this. Whether it's right or wrong, their word is the final. So that's what happens when Saturn is Vargottama. Vargottama means this is the word. This is it. Because sometimes Navamsha will say, this is it. Rashi will say, effect. Navamsha will say, this is the effect. This will give the total approval. For example, when anything is supposed to be done. In India, I'm talking about India, the Prime Minister and law, judge, etc. say the punishment. This man is supposed to be hung by this date. The president is just a person who signs for that. For example, in the same way, Saturn is a thing.
Okay.
So that is Vargottama planets. What all they give is what that shows. And there are a few bad Navamshas also. That's a 64th Navamsha. So there's one more thing called Nidhanamsha. So Nidhanamsha is the 8th house. For example, in the same way, there's also Matru Shapa and there's also Preta Shapa. There is Sun and Saturn in the 5th, weak moon in the 7th, Rahu in Lagna and Jupiter in the 12th. Make it Preta Shapa Yoga. Preta means a ghost. So what is a ghost? It is just a person who is committed suicide. Or a person, everybody, the moment they die, they cannot be transferred to any loka. There's a particular time in which they have to stay in they call it in the middle. It's called Trishanku place. So that is not even heaven, not even hell. So you have to stand in the middle. At that time, they curse somebody who they hate. So that is starting to be known because they are these influences of Preta Shapas, etc. When people, sons die after they are born. So there are many people, they keep getting sons. Again, it will die. Another son dies. Another son dies. They never have the happiness of having one son throughout their life at least. If not, at least for a few years also, this particular yoga does not allow them to be there. And that is, of course, because of some celestial entity, and that is given by the Vedas and Shastras and the Rishis as ghosts and father, mother who are angry, or brothers also.
Perfect.
So like that. There are a few yogas like that also. And there are a few more Navamsha yogas that I had actually collected, but I had not said that.
Oh, that's fine.
So shall I say those two?
Yeah.
So Gauri Yoga. Gauri Yoga is seen from different ways. But again, Gauri Yoga is the most powerful when the Lord of the Navamsha occupied by the Lord of the 10th. When the Lord of the Navamsha occupied by the Lord of the 10th in exaltation and combined with the Lord of the Lagna. So I have made an example that is Mercury in Uttara Bhadrapada 2. This makes it debilitated, but again, it becomes exalted in Navamsha. Uttara Bhadrapada 2. And that's the Lagna. And Jupiter in the 5th house exalted. That too in Nakshatra, Pushya Pada 2. So in Navamsha, the Lagna goes to Mithuna with Jupiter in Kanya and Mercury also in Kanya. So that easily shows Gauri Yoga. And combined with the Lord of the Lagna, that says Jupiter should be combined with the Lord of the 10th. So it's happening in this thing.
Okay.
Gauri Yoga. These people are world famous scholars and they become very great, eminent people of society. And they are also, they study the Vedas, they study the Shastras. They are blessed by Parvati Devi, who is the consort of Shiva. So they are blessed by her. That means she gives longevity, she gives good life, she gives good married life, etc. So all of these things come into the person. They are wealthy, and fame comes to them, etc. Things come to them. So that is about Gauri Yoga. And Bharati Yoga. So Bharati Yoga is formed in a complicated way actually. So there are 3 yogas in Bharati. One is the 2nd, 5th and the 11th. So 2nd Lord, 5th Lord and the 11th Lord. So there's first yoga says the 2nd Lord. So the Lord of the Navamsha occupied by the Lord of the 2nd.
Okay.
Should be exalted with the 9th Lord. So for the first thing, I've given the example as the Lagna is Pisces, Venus in the Lagna, Venus in Pisces, and Mars in the 2nd house, Bharani Pada 3, which sends it to Libra in the Navamsha, So since it's Libra and the Navamsha, the Lord of this Venus is exalted in the rashi, aspected by a good planet. So this shows easily Bharati Yoga. Bharati Yoga are also people as given here with they are very good people and they have a good character, world famous, a reputed scholar, fond of music, and handsome, attractive, and religiously inclined, and bewitching eyes. So very beautiful eyes they have. That's Bharati Yoga with the second Lord. With the fifth Lord, Bharati Yoga is formed by the Lord of the Navamsha occupied by the fifth Lord should be exalted. So I've given the example as Leo, Lagna, and Mars in Dhanishta 2, and after that Jupiter in Dhanishta 4.
Okay.
So that sends it as the Lord of the Lord of the place in which Jupiter is there as the Mars, and also Jupiter goes in Navamsha to Scorpio. Scorpio is the Mars, and in the Rashi, Mars is exalted. The sixth. Again, Upachaya Sthana, Mars is exalted, and the yoga is formed. So this is also a Bharati Yoga. Again, from the 11th Lord also, in the same way we can take it. So it's easy to see that also. The Mridanga Yoga. So Mridanga Yoga is also a very, very coveted, wonderful yoga. So this makes a person a king or equal to a king and respected by kings and a very famous person of high reputation, etc. And here this is chart in which there are two Mridanga Yogas. Very, very fortunate actually. So Lord of the Navamsha in which an exalted planet is there. So any exalted planet. So take any exalted planet. The Lord of the Navamsha in which the exalted planet is there should be in a powerful Kendra or a Trikona, which is again a friendly exaltation place for it.
Okay.
So sounds complicated, but again it's easy. That is an exalted planet. So let's take Jupiter. So this is a chart of a very great ruler. So okay, so this ruler has in his Lagna Venus and Saturn, Libra Lagna, Venus and Saturn in the Lagna, Moon, Mars and Mercury in the second house, Sun in the third, and Rahu in the fifth, and in the 10th, Jupiter exalted. 10th Jupiter exalted forms a very great Hamsa Yoga, and Lagna Saturn exalted forms a very great Shasha Yoga.
Shasha Yoga, yeah.
Yeah, so Hamsa and Shasha have made this person a ruler of a vast empire throughout the world.
And so, this is in Navamsha or the birth chart?
This is in the Rashi. Now the Navamsha is being stated, that is, Lagna is Dhanus Lagna with Jupiter in it. In the Lagna also. So in the Rashi, Jupiter is placed very nicely. In the Lagna, also, in the Navamsha also, Jupiter is placed in Sagittarius. Venus in the third house. You can see the chart here.
Okay. Yeah.
That's the chart. In that, it's easily shown that Jupiter is an exalted planet and Saturn is an exalted planet. In that also, Jupiter is in a Navamsha. So that Navamsha is his own Navamsha. That means he goes to Sagittarius in a Navamsha. So that makes it that he's in his own Navamsha and he's in a friendly place too. He's in a Mula Trikona. So one Mridanga Yoga is formed. The second Mridanga Yoga is from Saturn. So Saturn is in exaltation. The Lord of the Navamsha, that means Saturn is in Taurus in the Navamsha. Taurus is by Venus. Venus is in the Lagna in the Rashi. And Lagna means it is his own Lagna. Being his own Lagna, it is good for him, and that too it's a Mula Trikona. So here two Mridanga Yogas have been formed, which has made this person a ruler of a vast empire.
You know, but I want to thank you for coming and showing these yogas, and then maybe we can continue on later on sometime about them. Okay. Thank you so much, Abhignya. And guys, please check out his YouTube channel, which is Conscious. And you can search under, I'll put the link, and if you just put in, what is it, Conscience or?
Conscience.
Conscience.
N-S-C-I-E-N-C-E.
CE. Okay. So thank you so much, Avigna. I apologize. I have to run.
Oh, that's okay.
Thank you.